The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
The Flailing Tender Hockey Podcast is happy to have partnered up with Barn Burner Hockey. Barn Burner Hockey is a hockey lifestyle brand that is motivated by making all-natural, chemical-free hockey products for players of all ages and skill levels. Get yourself the Filthy Mist deodorizing equipment spray, the Dirty Dangles 2-in-1 shampoo and body wash. They've also got 2 different types of stick wax, hockey accessories, and apparel that will not only make you look good, but feel great on and off the ice. So go to barnburnerhockey.ca and use promo code 1420BARN and receive 10% off your purchase. That's 1420BARN at checkout at barnburnerhockey.ca. Barn Burner Hockey is so confident that you will love their all-natural products, they offer a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Barn Burner Hockey and the Flailing Tender Hockey Podcast, created for players by players. Dave, the reason why we're doing this on Sunday afternoon, we've done this once or twice before in the long historic history of our show. On Thursday night when we were recording, Craig Berube was ranting and raving about his St. Louis Blues. Basically said that he called the team out. He said there's no effort, there's no heart, there's no drive. These guys got nothing. And then he went as far as saying, and this was like this when I went, oh boy, that might be a spicy meatball to be saying. He said these guys are making a lot of money and they got nothing. Jesus, man, when you hear that, it's like, does Berube? Okay, first, what's your thoughts on what he said?
It's refreshing, right? There's a dance that every coach has in professional sports these days of being a hard ass and being a coddler and holding their hands, but then also kicking their ass. And where do you walk that line, right? And, you know, it tells me that I don't mind it. Like I don't watch a lot of Blues hockey. I'm not keeping up to it, but I know Berube is the guy that coached him to win the cup. So he has an idea what it takes. And if he's lost so much faith in the team and his rantings in the locker room are falling on deaf ears, you know, hey, fuck it, you boys. You don't care. I've told you to your face. I've said it in the locker room. I'm going to say it so everybody knows where I stand, because I'm sick and tired of the shit I'm seeing here day in and day out.
Well, especially when he was asked by a reporter, I can't remember the reporter's name, it doesn't much matter. We'll call him Jake Winters. And he said, Jake, why don't you ask the players? Ask them. Here's what it is. Here's what I see. I've been, like you said, he must have been saying it ad nauseum. And the next day, Blues forward was 13 goals this year. One of their better players. He had the audacity to refute what Berube said, and said that couldn't be further from the truth, was his exact words. Is this a situation, Dave, where a player should just maybe just shut up, or because the coach said what he said and that's it, and just because in the court of public opinion, when it comes and like, we don't talk about guys what they make on this show, like they make money because that's what they're worth. That's just what it is. But when a coach makes that statement, I think that a player should just shut their yap and accept what the coach said, because you are not going to convince the paying public that what the coach said is wrong, because people, no matter what, are going to be upset with when a coach says this and you see what the paychecks are that these guys get. You aren't going to change a person's opinion about what the coach said, and because these guys make so much money.
I think it would be dependent on what the locker room is, what the relationship is that the coach has with the players, and what particular player may or may not be speaking out. When the give a fuck meter is done, it's done. You can't put some more fuck back in the meter. And 100%. Clearly to me, Berube saying what he said at a press conference. This wasn't overheard anything. Like, I realized I think it was directly after another loss. Yeah. And he was frustrated but he knows the drill. He knows not to shoot off, but he knew before the game, if he got asked that question after another dismal performance, that this is how he's going to answer that question, because he has had it. And so his give a fuck meter's done. right? And then, what are you going to do? Fire me? I'm still going to get paid.
No.
I'm not having fun here either, guys. And if this is the way you want to go out and conduct your business as a paid professional, then you know what? If I have someone come over that's a plumber and is a professional and does a shoddy job and is late and doesn't clean up after himself, I'm gonna have some words with that fella too.
You know, you had a guy like Berube, the way he played back in the day, and it was rough and tumble. I remember him back in the Western Hockey League years ago, and then he went on to play in the National Hockey League for a lot of years. And his job was he was an enforcer. Let's not sugarcoat it. He was punching guys in the face and the like, but he had to play hard and he had to work for everything he got. And it was tough to be in the league back then. And having a guy like that say those things, it must be frustrating to see these prima donna kids get their way and do what they want and mail it in. Because if Berube were to mail it in back then, he wasn't going to be playing. And he had a job to do, and he had to do it. And he wasn't making the kind of money that, and like, yeah, let's bring up the money. He wasn't making the kind of money that these guys are making now. And I don't think it's a jealousy thing, because he's done very well for himself afterwards. Like, yeah, he's not making $8, $9, $10 million a year, but he's making a very decent living coaching hockey. But when he, like, the way he had to play and the way old school it was, and I'm not saying that it was better, it was different, but the way he had to go about playing in the National Hockey League, the way these guys do now, how much work he had to do compared to what it is now, you can't blame a guy for getting a little bit upset finally and saying enough's enough.
Yeah, because the team, obviously, the management has decided this isn't the year, because they traded O'Reilly, they traded Tarasenko, like two big pieces of that team. And
Binnington's been horseshit.
Yeah. And those guys, I don't know how Tarasenko's doing with the Rangers, but O'Reilly's announced his presence with authority with the Leafs, and he's clearly invigorated, and he's a difference maker player. He's not a superstar, but he's a star. He plays the game hard, he plays the game fast, and he's a money player, and he showed that when the Blues won the cup. Having those guys gone isn't an excuse for the rest of the players to give up on the season. Like, conduct yourself accordingly and be a professional. Get out there and do what you can.
Let's move on to our friend John Tortorella, good content creator, no matter what. No matter, you want to talk Tortorella. Earlier on last week, Joel Farabee, he's having not a very good year for the Flyers. He's making a good chunk of change. He got benched. He would have been a healthy scratch, but somebody got hurt, so he got put in the lineup in Calgary or in Edmonton. I can't remember which one it was. Doesn't much matter. But his agent came out afterwards and said that, I don't think this is right, and everything else, that my player's getting benched, and Tortorella said that guy should just shut his fucking mouth. And is it and then you had the situation 2 weeks ago in Calgary with Jonathan Drouin's agent popping off about Huberdeau's agent popping off the same way about, it's negative attitudes, and that's why my guys aren't playing well. These agents work for the players. So there is no way possible that these words aren't coming from the agents. I'm assuming. Is it at a point, Dave? Is it because of the society that we kind of have been cultured in the last 10 years with you can't say anything demeaning to anybody, you can't say anything bad, and everybody gets a participation trophy no matter what? Is it these kids who are professional hockey players now that were groomed back then, and that's why this kind of stuff is happening more and more often?
With the case of Huberdeau's agent, I don't know if it's the same agent with the Flyer player. I have no idea, but that Huberdeau agent is the ass crack that put that picture out of Fleury with a knife in his back when he was with the Vegas
Knights.
The Knights. It doesn't. I don't understand why an agent would do that. Like, is he protecting the player's brand, or is he just trying to deflect criticism off his player? But I don't understand the point with Huberdeau, because he just signed an 8-year deal with Calgary. Like, he's there, he's locked in for damn near max money.
Yeah.
And then so, like, how are you helping the situation here? Like, your client's still going to get paid. You still get your piece of the pie. What are you doing here?
It doesn't make any sense to me, Dave, because now, like, once again, it gets out in the public ears and the eyeballs, and morons like us do it on a podcast talking about it. You aren't making any fans. Because at the end of the day, no matter what, fans will always, always, always go back to money, and they'll say, "Well, you're playing a game; you should be thankful." Because it's true, and so like you're not doing yourselves any favors by spouting off to your agent and having your agent spout off to the media. You're
Oh, well,
not.
especially with Huberdeau, what he had a 90-point year last year, and he's hovering around 35, 40. Like he's having a dreadful year with the Flames in his first year that he's just got married to for they got pregnant. He's there for 8 years.
Yep.
Like so this does not help. I don't know if you want to foster discontent to get a trade to get him out of there, but you do that before you sign that contract, because if we all know in the NHL it's really hard to move big money contracts, because it's not about moving a player, it's
For more
about
money.
moving salary, right, with that hard cap.
Everybody would have every bit the best player they could if they could. But that's not the way it works.
And it also makes me wonder then, what is it like behind closed doors then? Like, are all the players, are they buddy? You can see on the players, like, well, let's go back to the Blues, that team that won the Stanley Cup 5 years ago.
2019, it's all of a sudden it's a long time ago all of a sudden.
Yeah, and you know what? That was a likable group, and you could tell the affection and the bond that they had as players. Like you could tell. It wasn't a bunch of professionals just punching a clock. They cared about each other. They cared how they performed.
Well, they lost Schwartz. They lost Jaden Schwartz to Seattle with expansion draft. You lose a guy here, you lose a guy there, and then because the way the league's set up, like you were saying, that the league's set up in a way that you can't keep players because of salary cap. So and because everybody wants to get paid, and you can't blame them for that. So it's just well, you got to go, and you can't do anything about it. So these teams that are great don't have a chance to stay together. Like those Chicago Blackhawks teams, they were dismantled. Yeah, they got 3, but they're just dismantled quickly. Like it's just, I don't know, man. Like there's something not right with the way these players, and I'm sure it's in other sports too, but we're more of a hockey centric part of the world, right? So we see it a lot more. But the way these players act, man, there's something not right somewhere.
Yeah, I do believe I'm not saying, I will never say they're not working hard, because you really have to work on your game. You have to work on your body to even think about competing at the level that the NHL is. So like they are professional in that, but it seems to me that the emotion of the love of the game gets lost a lot. It does become a job to these guys, and it's something that we can't understand because we're going about our workaday life, making a pittance compared to what they're making. And how can you not care? How can you do that? Because this is what you've been doing since you're 14 years old, right? You get up early so you can hit the gym or go to your power skating, and then you go to your class, and then you go to practice, and then you do this, and then you do that. Like your life has been so structured for you. I don't know how they've been told and catered and schedulized their entire prepubescent life right into adulthood, and then now they have to listen. They don't have to. They're just conditioned to listen to other people all the time of what to do next. So I don't even know.
They've been told to do what. So okay, and that's where I'm leading into. I kind of alluded to it earlier on, but is this a situation that the culture of the sport put on themselves, and the culture of parents, and the culture of, like, yes, you can't have people yelling and screaming at you 24 hours a day when you're on the ice. I get that, but there has to be a happy medium where, like, hey, if you fuck up, I'm going to tell you. But there has to be a happy medium in there somewhere, not like, oh, Billy, it's okay, here's your trophy anyways. And then the other part of it, Dave, is that you have a culture and a group of kids who never really played on teams. Yes, they played on squads, but not teams, because they're playing for this team and that team, this academy and the next. They've never really had to. They're just competing, but they're not. They don't get the joys of a championship and playing a year together until they get to junior hockey and the contracts and the agents and everything else. Is this a situation where the culture of hockey is starting to eat itself alive because of what's going on? Like, and you hear. This is only 3 that we heard of this week, right? It's three situations. Is this something we're going to be hearing more and more about as the weeks and months progress?
I think this is just the way of sport. It's not just hockey. It's basketball. It's baseball. Like, Jasper is going to be playing on 2 different teams this spring. He's going to be playing on the house league, and he's going to be playing on on a travel team. And then so now there's two different, like, what is your team? Obviously there's a little bit of overlap with different kids on different teams, but you're right. In when I was playing rep soccer when I was a kid, like, so from 12 years old till my 20s, obviously there's some turnover and different guys would come and go, but there was probably 8 of us that were on that entire run together from age 12 to 20, and some of them I still call my friends today, right?
So you're part of a team that competes to win something, and
Yes.
and you want to win, and this isn't for yourself. Like all these guys, fuck, this rattles me up a little bit, because I don't think I'm wrong on this.
And it was just one team, like in Lethbridge, like at the time the city wasn't as big as it is now. It was probably what 60-70,000 population of Lethbridge, but it was just one team per age group. And now, like, I even know in soccer there's 2 or 3 different teams, and there's kids training in Calgary. And this is just soccer, but hockey's the huge sport for us Canadians. And you got a kid doing this, and you got camp, and you got power skating, and then they have a travel team out of Edmonton that they go to for their big tournaments, and this, and yeah, where's the commitment to team, not commitment to self and exposure and
that's just it, Dave. These guys have no commitment to a team. They have a commitment to themselves and their brand and everything else. They have no commitment to actually fucking winning. And I don't think we're wrong on this at all. There's no commitment to that. So as soon as somebody says something to them that butt hurts these guys a little bit, they go to their agent. It's like going to their parents. He said something mean. Well, yeah, we're paying you this much money. Be better. And you know how you don't get in trouble from your coach to the media. You play better. You win hockey games. It's actually that simple. If you lose games, whatever. But if you don't play hard and you don't compete and you don't play better, this is what should happen. But so many of these guys just think they can go out, especially now when a lot of teams are out of the playoffs already. They're not competing. They have their paychecks, guaranteed money, the whole bit. That's it. If you play better, your coach will not besmirch you to the media.
And on that note as well, like, sports is a goofy thing, right? You go through your highs and lows. Sometimes you can't miss. Sometimes the ball finds you. Sometimes the puck finds you. Sometimes you're fighting it. And that's just the nature of sport, no matter how hard you try. But, always, every coach I've ever had in my entire career, no matter what sport I played, they always recognize the effort. Always recognize, I get it. It's not rolling for you right now. You're getting some bad bounces,
whatever it is.
But you got to bear down. It's going to turn around.
But the nights you didn't work hard, or the days you didn't work hard, or when you went out there, like, I don't give up.
I've gotten that speech too. Your effort was shit tonight.
That's
Dave.
when you get told you're being a shitty person, and that doesn't happen enough. And like, I'm not saying there has to be tough love like it was in the 70s and the 80s where coaches were beating kids up. Like, I'm not saying that at all. But these kids have been told that this is what you're good, little Jimmy, you're good. Or sorry, Jim, because he obviously does our show for us. But like it, and I think, and I think that what Berube, because he finally had enough, like you said, he had it, and I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing it anymore.
And I could only imagine if someone like him, who knows how hard he had to bust his ass and playing through injuries and doing this and never skipping practices, practicing hard, doing everything right, and he sees these guys phoning it in. It's like, you fuckers don't even have a fucking clue the gift
how hard it is,
and the gift that you've been given. Like, it's you guys have way more skill than I ever dreamed was possible in my career, and you're pissing away and you're phoning it in. And it's a disrespect to the game. It's a disrespect to your fans. It's a disrespect to the franchise. Like, that's all I'm asking. Don't phone it in. Try.
Like, you wonder what kind of a fallback is going to have on, like, Berube's probably not going to be the coach next year, because that's just the way it always works out, right? Where are you welcome 4 or 5 years? See you later. Sutter, comes and goes, and Tortorella comes and goes. It's just the way it is. You wonder over the years to come, if GMs and presidents and ownership groups are going to be straying away more and more and more from the quote unquote old school guys. If you're going to have these guys who are mental health coaches or mental strength coaches, not mental strength coaches. You know what I mean? Like more of these guys who aren't just old school hockey guys. If they're going to, if that's going to be a thing, because I see the NHL moving that way 100%, because it just seems that the old school guys are on their way out, and they don't, and they're almost thankful a little bit. Like
Yeah,
I'm out. Like I this isn't the hockey I grew up with.
it is a bit of a high wire act for different franchises, because it seems to me almost that different teams at different times of their evolution, or just the cyclical nature of the game, like you can't be good all the time, and there are years that are going to be down years. It's almost like different kinds of coaches for different types of team expectations, right? Quenneville with Chicago is a hard ass as well, right? But when you got that right, when you have the team with the talent that's hungry to win, that's when a hard ass coach is the best. Like, I'm
Yeah.
here to listen. I'll listen to you, Daryl Sutter. I'll listen to you, Mike Babcock. I'll listen to you, Joe Quenneville, because you guys know the game well enough to tell me what to do. And if I do what you tell me to do, I'm going to end up with a ring on my finger. And that's what's important to me. But some teams don't have that talent, and then, the ball busting coach might be good to get him from,
Dave, I think
ninth
most teams
place.
don't even have the players that want to win. Like
See,
I fully believe that, man. Like
there's definitely some out there, and the one that's in recent memory is, like, to me, is that Johnny Gaudreau. He takes less money to go to Columbus, and they are now bottom of the barrel. I think they're DFL in the league. And really, you went there to do that just to catch, like, in him
somehow
and
beat
Line.
Edmonton yesterday, but yeah.
Yeah, but blind squirrel catches a nut,
Yeah.
right? And same with that line. Like, these guys are so massively skilled, but geez, let's just go to Columbus where no one knows us. We can make our 10 mil a year and live our life. And back in the day, there was nobody in the NHL. Everybody wanted, like, took the ice that day, first day. Oh, Jesus, I hope we win the Stanley Cup this year.
Yeah.
Whereas those guys in Columbus, they don't care. And then, and we talked about, we beat Phoenix to death the other day, or Arizona, the Coyotes. Like, what do you do if you're playing there? Like, they'll if management and ownerships doesn't have the expectations of greatness,
Then why would a player?
Then why would the player? And so, and it sucks for a team like St. Louis, which is kind of like, they land in my soft spot. I don't mind cheering for them. I kind of like St. Louis. I always have. And I was happy to see them win the cup. But now that they have it, like, is this, well, okay, well, good enough. Like, I was on that team, and what do you do? Like, right? As a coach, it's just like, God damn, I wouldn't mind winning more than one cup, but clearly you guys don't. And
he's going to be out.
Yeah, and then big deal, and he'll have a job someplace along the line. I would imagine, I would hope, because he seems like a good guy. Like, he doesn't seem that far removed from Rod Brindamore, who we all love and think is doing an awesome job in Carolina. But is that where? What's the difference between Brindamore and Berube? Two guys that did it the right way when they were in their playing career.
Maybe you got a bunch of guys. Okay, we got one now. I can. They named the local street after me, the local arena. It's now the whatever sportsplex in Wichita, fucking Saskatchewan or whatever. And so I got mine. I'm out. I got my paycheck. I'm out. Yeah, like it's, I don't know. It's an odd situation with these guys, and it's something I think that society has created. It's right across all sports that these guys don't. I really think it's something that society created with the way it's all worked out. I really do. That we had all these participation trophies, and you can't do anything. You can't say anything, besmirching to anybody, and it's just the way it is. And I wholeheartedly believe that it's because when those participation trophies first started out, it's those guys who are National Hockey League now.
Yeah.
Right. And I fully believe that. And and you can't, like I said earlier on, you can't beat a guy, you can't slap a guy, you can't throw garbage cans at him like it was back in the 80s. And I fully understand that, but there has to be a happy medium in there somewhere, because not everybody and the last thing we'll get off this, the last thing about this, Dave, is not everybody has 10-year careers. right? There's a lot of guys who get 2-3 year careers and don't get a full contract, right? And so when these high and mighty players are mailing it in, they're screwing over their teammates and they're screwing over the lesser guy, and that's something that's really shitty, I think.
Well, and another thing as to this, it's there's a podcast, the Barn Burner, the sponsors of this segment. It's not any way related to the sponsors. It's Barn Burner. It's Rhett Warner, Boomer, and Brian Pinder, the guys. Yeah, the guys that used to run the sports morning show. Great chemistry, funny, and now they do a podcast well, they actually live stream. I don't watch it, but then I do the download. Like, they're really funny. A, B, they're smart. C, now that they're a podcast, they don't mind dropping the odd F-bomb. So it's even...
no C-sharps like our friend Dave at Level the Playing Field.
Actually, that's no, that's not true.
Okay, I don't want to talk about it, but yeah, anyways.
Yeah, Pinder has managed to drop a C-sharp, but nonetheless, it's highly entertaining. And they were talking about, speaking of hard-nosed coaches, Daryl Sutter. If they had decent goaltending, they would have 8 more points in the playoffs, which is damn near the Pacific, like right near the league for their not their conference or division. Like they're licking the jar of best team in the conference. And now because this one player is playing like shit.
Terrible. Let in the first 2 shots last night. The first 2.
Before
they even took the gum out of the wrapper to chew on the bench, they were down 2-0.
See? And then how is that now Daryl Sutter's problem? He goes that's the one thing he can't control is goalies stopping pucks. And so now everybody's like coming down, like Daryl's message is getting old. The players aren't responding. And they're, you know what? They actually are, because their starting goaltender has cost him 5 games, minimum 5 games this year, which is 10 points, which is a huge jump in the standings. And so like Sutter's not doing, and far be it for me to become a Daryl Sutter apologist, but you know, when you're winning, a hard ass coach, you can put up with it because you're winning, but now you're losing. And it's not the players in the room fault. Like there's 2 guys whose fault it is. And those are the guys between the pipes. And then so, his style as a coach hasn't changed. He knows how to win. He showed us that he can win with the Kings. He got Calgary to the first seed last year. Blah, 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 blah. And now people like Ubadoro's agent are coming down on him for being too mean to the players because the goalie can't stop a fucking puck. Like, come on.
These fuckers don't know what too mean is. Like
exactly.
They don't. And I said it again, like the stuff that even I went through back in the day, because I didn't play good. I never got in shit. Okay, even better, just in life in general. If you do what you're supposed to do on a daily basis, you don't get in shit. It's that simple. If you try hard, you do your chores, you do your this, you do your that. If you do what you're supposed to on a daily basis, you don't get in shit. So, but when you don't, that's when you get in shit. But not to these kids. Not to these kids.
Because you're not paying attention in practice. Like we went over in practice. This is where you're supposed to be, but you weren't paying attention in practice. You know what? And do coaches do bag skates in the NHL anymore?
Probably not allowed to.
I'm probably not allowed to. Like, like if you're getting bag skated, like fuck that. I'm making $10 million a year. I ain't bag.
What was that on Major League Doran? Bill Doran? Was it Bill Doran? When
the third baseman,
when he's it's in my contract, and then whatever the manager's name was, I can't remember, when he took the contract and pissed on it on the field. I think we need more of that, because it's out of control, and I don't think it's going to get any better with the way people and these entitled little pricks act. And I'll say it. I said before, I'll say it again. I think there's way too many entitled little pricks that play this game, and it's not a bad product, but it's not a great product. It's not.
Well, you can always tell when people are playing with emotion and regardless of the sport, it's just better with emotion. And, and
everything else.
Golf and tennis, right? You see those guys caring because at the end of the day, it's you versus me. I can't blame the coach. I can't blame the fans. I can't blame the ref. The ball is either in or out. The ball is in the cup or not, right? You're there by yourself. And so maybe, that's why we see, which is kind of nice, even though I don't know, it's kind of funny, when you see the Waste Management Open. Is that too much emotion for golf? I don't know. But, it's nice to see them going.
I think the golfers are okay. Once a year, we'll do it.
Yeah.
I don't think they can do it 52 weeks a year or 50 weeks a year, 48, whatever a tour is. But once you think, okay, this is fun. But if
Yeah.
you won't see that at Augusta by any means.
Oh, no. I think they'll cart your ass out of there right quick
They'll
if you
get
ever
players
want
kicked out of there anyways. Anyways, the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, 4 beer sports talk and a whole lot more, brought to you by Barn Burner Hockey and barnburnerhockey.ca. Use promo code 1420 barn at barnburnerhockey.ca for their 10% off their all natural hockey products and apparel.